What's up, YouTube? Capital G here, looking at a brand new piece of Sky Striker support that just got revealed in Soul Fusion. This is very interesting, and to me, this kind of signals that Konami wants Sky Strikers to continue being a very relevant and viable meta deck. I think that Konami has a little bit of a problem with Sky Strikers being splashed into everything from your Gokis and your Spirals and your Trick Stars, etc., etc. But I think that they are perfectly fine having Sky Strikers as a tier 1 deck. In fact, I guess you could kind of double down on my theory with the fact that they hit Hornet Drones kind of like the main splashable card alongside Startup Engage as, you know, one of the big hits in the OCG. And I do feel like that is eventually going to happen in the TCG. I feel like Konami has to keep making like Sky Striker cards so when they like inevitably hit, Mobilize Engage, that people can still play the deck and it can still be very viable. So let's go ahead and look at this. And this is a spell card, which, it has the Link Monster, the Wind attribute Link Monster that's coming out in Cybernetic Horizon right there on the artwork. I wonder if Konami is going to completely finish the attribute, the attribute wheel. I honestly don't feel like they need to. I know that Invoked and Shadows have like all 6 attributes, not including Divine, but I kind of feel like Sky Strikers they're just so fundamentally different in the fact that like they're so predicated on spells and whatnot. I feel like they don't need the full gauntlet of all the attributes, to be honest. Anyways, this is Sky Striker Maneuver Vector Blast. It's a normal spell card. It says if you control no monsters in your main monster zones, which is built into basically all the spells in the archetype, so nothing new there. Send the top 2 cards of both players' decks to the graveyard. Then if you control 3 or more spells in your graveyard, you can return all monsters your opponent controls in the extra monster zone back to the deck. That is actually non-targeting, by the way, too. So if your opponent happens to, I don't know, just extra link you could hypothetically get a +1. This is an interesting card, and I kind of see it from both sides of the fence. Like, I could see this card being kind of terrible, and I could also see it being pretty good. In the case that your opponent does extra link you, I think that it is solid. Hell, even if your opponent just has one random monster in their extra monster zone, I mean, then it's just basically a 1-for-1. But I am looking at it, and its ceiling, basically through that, you have to have 3 spell cards in your graveyard. If you just look at this card as kind of a double mill effect, or a double excavate effect, I mean, that can be okay, I guess, in Sky Strikers, because it does give you more spells in the graveyard. That obviously benefits all your monsters, and it benefits your spells as well. You can hit a copy of Darkest Diablos, you can hit Metaphors Fusion, you can send the Metaphors Fusion back to your deck to instantly draw a card. But you have to also consider that if you're playing against a deck like Lightsworn or Burning Abyss, your opponent gets the mill cards as well, and that could be bad, because what if you're playing against BA and they end up hitting, I don't know, a Graph? What if your opponent gets a Glow Up Bulb in their graveyard? There are so many cards from your opponent's deck that you might not want in their graveyard, that obviously there is going to be a risk associated with it. I mean, a lot of people are saying that this card is probably a 1-of. I'm thinking that it's probably going to fall in that category of 0-1. I mean, getting cards off of the field in the extra monster zones, and especially bouncing it back to the extra deck, that's good removal. You're not destroying it, you know what I mean? You're not putting it where your opponent can really ever get that card back. I just don't really know if this card is necessary. Like, the deck already has removal, and I feel like, there are other ways with Foolish Burial and Foolish Burial Goods to kind of guarantee that you get the specific card in your graveyard that you want, whether it be Darkest Diablos or whether it be Foolish Burial Goods. Plus, those cards can add spells to the graveyard as well. So, to me, this card is unnecessary, but I do think that it has a decent use. It's more of a niche card. I don't even really think that you have to run it, but I wouldn't be shocked if people ran one copy of it, because, Sky Strikers, they have so many ways of getting to their specific cards with Mobilize, Engage, and then Shizuku and all that good stuff. So you guys let me know what you think. I think that it's okay. I'm not going to say it's a good card. It's like a 5 out of 10. Probably don't even need to run it. Whatever you guys think, leave it in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching. As always, subscribe if you have not already, and turn on that notification bell for daily videos.